We are live and we're going to start right now. I'm just going to quickly open up on my computer and my phone over here just to check the settings. Make sure everything is looking okay. I'll keep that chat open there. I have all these different angles and cameras and devices that are opened up. So there's a lot going on. Let's see, you can hear the audio and you can hear the piano. Perfect. Okay. That's what we hope for, at least. So today is the third week in the month of December. And the first week of every month, we always focus on the cool song and the essential piano exercise. The second week of every month, we focus on theory therapy. The third week, we focus on innovative improvisation. And the fourth week, we focus on creative composition. So today we're going to be focusing on innovative improvisation. But as I had mentioned last week, this entire month, we're going to focus on my book, 100 Left-Hand Patterns, and we're going to go into the Christmas section from this book. Now, in this book, there are 5 separate sections. We have the children's section, we have the American folk songs and patriotic music section, and then we have the Christmas section. It's the third section in the book. Now, what I'd like to do is show you some examples from this and then teach you how to do a little improvisation of your own, how to improvise. You can take any song and you can learn how to play it 100 different ways. But also, I want to show you, since it is the month of December, I want to show you my book. We have Jazzed About Christmas and we have Jingle Those Bells. Now, this book right here, I'm going to show you some arrangements that I have already arranged, that I notated. These are actually 18 Christmas songs in the key of C major for early intermediate piano students. And then we'll talk about some that are a little more advanced, like this book, Jingle Those Bells, where we go in and we have different arrangements that are much more advanced, if you look at those. So again, these are 2 separate Christmas books that I have. You can listen to my Christmas music on Spotify, Pandora, iTunes, Amazon. You can watch my various videos and music videos I have on my YouTube channel. But we're going to look at those today in conjunction with section 3 from my book, 100 Left-Hand Patterns Every Piano Player Should Know. And we're going to be focusing on how to improvise with Christmas music. Now, when you are improvising, some people only think about jazz music when they think about improv, but you can improvise with new age, with a new age style or sound. You can improvise with classical music. Mozart did it all the time. He was notoriously hated for doing it because he would embellish, and people went to their concerts back then, a lot of the traditional classical composers, because of what they would do in their live performances. So today, let's get started with my book, 100 Left-Hand Patterns Every Piano Player Should Know, and we'll go to section 3, the Christmas music section. Let me go to the overhead view. Now, those of you who are attending live, you can let me know what Christmas song you would like to have me jazz up from this book. But what I wanted to do is I thought it would be fun to actually take one of these, and I want to play it a few different ways for you, that you can see how we can take the same song and play it in a different style. Now, I thought for this example, it would be fun if we looked at the First Noel. So down here we have the First Noel. Simple. It's this number 70. There are 100 pieces in this book that are in fake book format. This is number 70. It's found on page 67, the First Noel. Now, if you notice, we have the melody right here with the right hand, and then we have the chords written above. If we were just playing this as a simple example, I could play the melody. That's just a simple melody. Now with the left hand, I can start out just playing the root note of the chord, or I could play the entire octave interval. I'm going to do the octave interval, and then I'm going to embellish. I'm going to show you how we can start embellishing the right hand. Let me tell you what I mean. This is the melody. If I did the left hand octave interval with that, now that's very basic. What if I wanted to embellish the right hand? Now, I don't know, I was just making that up. I was just improvising the entire piece. This is what I played from the first Noel. I embellished the right hand. This is what I want to talk about today. We've talked a lot about how you can take the left hand and you can just do an octave interval, which is wonderful. And we've even talked about how you can do simple left hand patterns, like if I did a 1, 5, 8, 9, 10 left hand pattern, 1, 5, 8, 9, 10. I can start on any key and I can play a 1, 5, 8, 9, 10 left hand pattern. What I want to really hit on today is how to bring out and embellish the right hand. If you notice, I was not doing this. That's nice. It's simple. What I was doing is embellishing. Okay, let's talk about what I was doing. If we come back to the melody, look at the melody here. We have E, D, C, D, E, F, G. That's the melody. Well, look right here. We have C chord, A minor chord, E minor chord. What I am going to do is I'm going to take, in the first place, I'm going to put the C major chord below my melody, and I'm going to do this. Hold on, let me come back over here for a second. I'm going to do that in first inversion. Anytime you have any chord, if you look at it right there, anytime you have any chord, play the melody with the pinky. And I always say that, and sometimes people don't know what I'm talking about. You're going to put the melody on top. The reason why is because our ears instantly hear whatever note is on top. It's like we're drawn to that note because it's the note that stands out the most. That's why the melody is almost always on the top, and usually it's performed by the sopranos. Sometimes they will put it in the center, but usually you have the bass as the foundation underneath, and then going up from there, you actually have bass, then you have your baritone, tenor, alto, soprano. The sopranos usually have the melody because they're the top note, and whatever note is on top is the note that our ears pick out because we hear that top note. It's not hidden or blending in, surrounded by all these other notes. It's the note on top. So let me go back to the overhead view, and I will show you. Hold on for a second. Let me show you. The right hand is this melody. We're going to do this. Now, this right here is my C major triad. Okay, that is my C major triad. Right there, I'm doing first inversion. In root position, it is C, E, G. In first inversion, it is E, G, C. But I can play these notes blocked or broken, breaking them apart. Now, what I'm trying to do is initially just start with the chords. So we have the C major chord. We have the A minor chord. Then we have E minor in the second measure. So I'm taking those chords and breaking them apart. I'm taking the notes from the chord, whatever inversion, so that my melody's on top. In this instance, it's an E minor triad. In root position, it's E, G, B. In first inversion, it's G, B, E. In second inversion, it's B, E, G. So right there, you have the pickup measure, then you have measure 1 and measure 2. In measure 2, we have the E minor triad. We have the G note as the melody. So I'm going to play that chord right there, but break it apart. Now I'm going to play the F major chord right here because the C is on top. I want to play the F major triad, but I'm going to break it apart. But I'm going to come down with the melody line. I'm only taking the chord, if you notice, C major chord, A minor, E minor, F major. This is a C major, C sus2. This is C add 2, right there in measure 12. Try playing the chord. If I go back to the beginning, play E, D, and then play C, but play the C major triad inverted. This is a good way just to get started. Now, I could play, see the chord? C major, A minor, E minor, measure 2, F major, measure 3, C major, measure 4, F major, measure 5, C major, measure 6, G7th. This is root position G7th. First inversion is B, D, F, G. Second inversion is D, F, G, B. Third inversion is F, G, B, D. And then you're back to root position G, B, D, F. So we're going to do the inversion that will help us have that G7th in measure 6 with the B on top. And then we'll do the G7th right here where the F is on top, if you see that. That's in root position. And then we'll play C major. If I did that, measures 1 through, I guess that's 8, it would sound like this. Just playing the melody with the chord. Now, here, I added something. If you look at this G7th, where we have the E, we have a G7th, and then we have the E on top. Well, there isn't an E in the G7th chord. So what I did is I made sure that my E is going to be on top. So I kept that E on top, and then I put the notes from the G7th below it. So here's my G7th. In root position, we have G, B, D, F. In first inversion, it's B, D, F, G. In second inversion, it's D, F, G, B. In third inversion, it's F, G, B, D. And every time I say the names of the notes, I'm going from the bottom to the top, F, G, B, D. So now if I have that, I can quickly add the E on top, and it adds a nice transitional chord. Okay, I'm just playing the chord. That's all I'm doing. Now, it does become more challenging when you have 6th and 7th chords because you have more notes you're adding. But this is how we get started embellishing. That's all I'm doing. Put the chord below the melody. The right hand is playing both the harmony and the melody together, but the melody is always on top. That's how we're doing this. And again, we're on page 67, and we're looking at the first Noel from my book, 100 Left-Hand Patterns Every Piano Player Should Know. What I want you to try to do is once you can play the chord below the melody, try just a few measures, play the chord below the melody. Now, I just did the first 4 measures of my little piece there, the first Noel. What if I start to break those notes apart now? So here's my C major triad. I'm going to come down. See that? Okay. Let's see. Oh, Pamela, in measure 20, there is a G/B. How is that handled? Whenever you have a slash chord is usually telling you what the note is on the bass. Now, if you have a bass note, we could think of that as the bottom note of the right hand, or you can pick it up with the left hand. If I had, as an example, a C chord, technically this is C/C, where C is on the bottom. If I had C/E, that's first inversion, but I could have an E with the left hand, where we have G/B. If I have a G major triad, it's GBD. First inversion is BDG. That's the slash chord. However, I could also play that B note with the left hand as kind of a transitional movement. If I'm coming in, I'll start at measure 18 as an example. My left hand played the B, descending, going down. My right hand played the G major triad, first inversion, where the B was on the bottom. Well, I guess I don't have another B down there. Like that. So I'm descending. My left hand is moving. Sometimes you have transitional chords or transitional tones where it's creating some movement to go from one chord to the next. We have the C major triad, and then we have the A minor triad. In between, we have C, B, A, where we have the B but we don't want to play the B diminished. So that's why we have the B as one of the notes from the G chord, but the B is the transitional movement. I wouldn't play the G with my left hand. You could, but it creates the resolution. I want the transition, not the resolution. So here I'm going to play it as a transitional chord where I'm moving to create that movement. Does that make sense? So hopefully that makes sense. Thank you. Okay. Is it used for the third beat? Yes, you can use it for the third beat. So the way it's notated there, it doesn't look like it's on the third beat. It looks like it's on the fourth beat. You could do it the third. You could do it the fourth if you want to have almost like a syncopated rhythm. Again, the nice thing is, however you want to play it. So that is what is so fun. I would play it probably on the third beat going down, but it sounded nice when I played it on the fourth beat. So again, you can look at it and say, how do I want this to be? But once you get those chords, the basic chords below the melody, then we start breaking them apart. See how I'm creating that melody from the harmony. That's all I'm doing with my right hand. And then your left hand is free to kind of do whatever you want, but you're creating this almost, you have your melody, you have your harmony, but then it's almost like you have a counter melody kind of dancing along. Okay, that's now my left hand, I was really just doing 1-5-8 a lot of the time. Okay. A lot of the chord progressions that you hear, when you break them apart, you'll say, wait a second, that sounds like another song that I know. And it is a lot of music. Music sounds similar to various songs that we've heard before, we've played before. It's not too difficult, but it's fun. It's something that you can quickly look at it and say, I can do this. I can play the first Noel. Now, let me show you. This is my book, Jazzed About Christmas, and this has 18 Christmas songs in the key of C major for early intermediate piano students. Let me show you this because I did the first Noel, I believe, in here somewhere. Maybe if I... there it is. Okay. This is on page 25. Now, I tried to keep this simple because this is for early intermediate level students, but look what I did. Now, I did jazz it up a little bit, but I tried to keep it simple most of what you see is what we've talked about, where the chord is above. The chord is below the melody. You've got the melody. Now with this one, I wanted to keep a simple left hand, just playing basic triads. And the reason why I did that is because with the triads I have with the left hand and the notes from the chord I have with the right hand, it actually creates a lot of seventh and even ninth sounds. Even you can see a lot of the ninth chords that I wrote in, or F add 2, or different things that create the ninth sound. And it's very simple, but it sounds difficult. Let me play the first Noel. That low C wasn't in there, but I thought it needed it. But you can see right here, this is the first Noel, just a simple arrangement. Not too difficult at all. Again, this is from my book, Jazzed About Christmas. Whoops, there's the cover. Jazzed About Christmas. Okay, you can find this on Amazon. You can buy the PDF book on my website, musicmotivation.com. You can buy the paperback book on Amazon, and then I just tell people, take it into a local print shop, have them put a spiral binding on it, because they print it as a PDF book. Because if they print it with a spiral binding, and I used to print it as a spiral binding, and then it would bust. It would break when you ship it. That's why they print it as paperbacks, because when you ship it, what happens is, and I'm not blaming the postal service, but sometimes they just throw packages down, but it will, even when you pad it and you put padding inside the box, it will still, because of the weight with stacking other boxes, even with the padding, the coils can bend or snap, or they won't work properly. So I tell people, just buy the paperback book from Amazon, take it in. You can eat for $2, $3. You can have them cut off the binding, and it's so much easier to do it that way. Let me show you how to take the first Noel that I have here, and I'm going to embellish this. Now remember, I just played this. Okay, that is early intermediate level. What if I want to make it advanced from this arrangement that I did? So I'm going to arrange my own arrangement, which I do all the time, but it's fun. You can take someone else's arrangement and you can make it more difficult, or you can simplify and make it easier. If I did, I could do something like this, and I'm going to embellish it, still keeping the same style and sound, just making it more difficult. Now, what did I do? I took my arrangement of the first Noel and I embellished it. I improvised. I added notes. Instead of just having a simple right hand pattern like this, I started doing more of the basic chords or the octave chords. I started taking I used this arrangement, my own arrangement, as a framework to embellish and add to this arrangement. Now, what is fascinating, they're both in the key of C. This is the fake book version. This is a early intermediate version. And what I just played for you is a much more advanced or late intermediate, early advanced level arrangement. I kept it true to the arrangement. We didn't change it. I mean, we could. You could play it however you wanted. We could do a new age style where instead of doing just the basic pattern, we could, every time we see a C, play an A minor and maybe even do a minor version. See how I added that A flat there? Now I could get this sound. Now we've changed the style. That's completely different than if we did something like. You could really jazz it up. I mean, you could do a 50s rock, style. Yeah, you could do so many different styles, and it's fun. You could take it actually into a minor key. Which actually, I did that in C minor, but going from this already, where we have the C minor to the, C major to the E minor, then it kind of created almost a major sound, but we were doing octave chords, minor octave chords. So you can take any of these pieces and you can play them any style you want. And what I tell students and I tell teachers is see what you can come up with. take one simple, if I did a simple walking bass left-hand pattern, now there are so many different walking bass patterns. Okay, you can do hundreds of different left-hand walking bass patterns. I like to tell students just start with a simple whole half-half because it's the easiest. It's a very simple left-hand walking bass pattern. But once you have that pattern, you could start to play that. Now I'm starting on, I'm actually following that. Well, actually, let me go back to the fake book. It'll be easier so you don't have as many notes. I'm following this chord progression, but now I'm doing a walking bass left-hand pattern of whole half-half, but I start on C, then I go to A, then E, then F, and that is my starting point for my whole half-half left-hand walking bass pattern. If I start on C, this is C, whole step would be D, half step would be E flat, half step would be E natural. It's known as the whole half-half left-hand walking bass pattern. And then we go to F, whole half-half. Then we go to D, whole half-half. Then we go to G, whole half-half. But I can start on C. Then I can jump up to A or drop down to A. Then jump up to E. Then drop down to F if I want. But the progression is following the chord progression. Now, you could go up or down. Let's see. Now, again, it doesn't matter where I start with my left hand. I'm starting on a note and then doing a whole half-half from there. C, I could go to A, I could go to E. The main point is that you follow the whole half-half. If I start on E, E to F is half a step, so I need to play E, F sharp, G, G sharp. See, it doesn't matter where I begin. Now I could go up, I could go down. What if I went from C, and instead of going up from F, I went down? I'm still doing a whole half-half. So if I start on F, F to E is half a step. So I need to play the whole step and then do the half step followed by the other half step. See, I can jump around. The point is you start where the chord is. And I can embellish the right hand. I'm just showing a simple pattern. Again, it's a simple left-hand pattern. Try it. Just have fun. A very simple way to get started with the whole half-half left-hand walking bass pattern is to play seventh chords with the right hand. If I did a C seventh with the right hand, now this is C, E, G, B flat. Here I have F7, F, A, C, E flat. Here I have D seventh, D, F sharp, A, C. That's my D seventh chord. And then I have the G seventh, which is G, B, D, F, natural. These are all seventh chords. Well, if you play those seventh chords while the left hand is doing a simple pattern, let's say I follow the progression of C, F, D, G, well, my right hand will play a C seventh chord. My left hand will do the whole half-half left hand walking bass pattern starting on C. And then I will jump up to F. And then I'll drop down to the D seventh chord with the right hand and a D with the left hand. And then jump up to the G seventh chord with the right hand and start on the G with the left hand and follow the whole half-half left hand walking bass pattern. And you can start to break those apart. Excuse me. Did you see what I was doing? The right hand was playing the chord, and I can do root position, first inversion, second inversion, third inversion. This is a C seventh chord root position, C, E, G, B flat. If I play first inversion, it's E, G, B flat, C. If I play second inversion, it's G, B flat, C, E. If I play the third inversion, it's B flat, C, E, G. And then I'm back to root position again. Root, first, second, third. Now I can do the same thing with the F seventh chord. Root position is F, A, C, E flat. First inversion is A, C, E flat, F. Second inversion is C, E flat, F, A. Third inversion is E flat, F, A, C. And then you are back to root position. The D seventh chord is D, F sharp, A, C. That's my D seventh chord in root position. In first inversion, it's F sharp, A, C, D. In second inversion, it's A, C, D, F. And then we go to the third inversion where we have C, D, F sharp, A. And then you're back to root position, D, F sharp, A, C. See that? And then we go to the G seventh chord, G, B, D, F. Root position, first inversion, B, D, F, G. Second inversion is D, F, G, B. Third inversion is F, G, B, D. So now watch the pattern. My left hand is just following, playing quarter notes. In this example, I'm playing quarter notes with the right hand as well. I could start to play eighth notes, or I could break them apart. See how I'm breaking those apart now? my left hand was following the whole half-half left-hand walking bass pattern. Again, C, F, D, G. That's the chord progression. This is only done to help you feel comfortable doing that. So then when you play a piece like the first Noel here, then you can, since it's not following that chord progression, we start on C, then we jump up to A. It takes a little more practice to be able to quickly jump up to a different, if you're going from the C, and what you may want to do with this one is ignore the A. See that? It's a big jump. If I did this, you wouldn't have time to transition. So I would probably, if I were you trying to do this, I would ignore that A with the whole half-half left-hand walking bass pattern and just do the full C pattern. And we're doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the full pattern. And then right here, it goes to an E minor. And then it goes to F, back to C. Up to F, back to C. And then we go up to the G there, but it's a quick G. So I would probably just hit the G and then drop back down to the C. Now, if you notice a lot of these, especially starting right here, look at how many chords we have. We have 2 or 3 in one measure. I would just ignore all of those and just play the first chord. C, stay on C, and then start over on C. Ignore that, or if you want to pretend like this is another measure, you could do that. And then here, C. So I'm really ignoring a lot of the chord changes because it doesn't give you enough time to make a smooth transition. It's a simple progression. It's a simple pattern. It's not too difficult. Again, all I did, I took my book, 100 Left-Hand Patterns, Every Piano Player Should Know, and this is what I played from. This entire lesson today has been playing from this right here. Now, I did show you from my book, Jazzed About Christmas, okay? We did show you a simplified arrangement that I did on page 25, First Noel. Okay, you can use that as an example from my book, Jazzed About Christmas. But honestly, just take my book, 100 Left-Hand Patterns Every Piano Player Should Know, and try to take the First Noel and do what we've talked about in this lesson. It's taking the simple patterns that we have, and primarily the first half of this lesson, we were focusing on creating a right hand improvisational pattern where you are embellishing the right hand using the chords. All we did, remember, we played the melody with the pinky on top because that is the note that everyone hears when they're listening. They hear the melody on top. And then below the melody, we just took the chords and we broke the chords apart. And it creates a really beautiful sound. And once you get that, once you master how to do that, you can do that with any piece. You can take any song, even if it's written. I took my Jazzed About Christmas arrangement of the first Noel from this book, and I embellished it. You can take an arrangement and arrange an arrangement. You can take any song that is already composed and created, and you can make it your own. Now, you can't start selling it if you don't have the rights to it, or the rights to, even if you did not, if it's in public domain, that's a different story. And then I love taking songs in public domain because then it's royalty free, which then my arrangement becomes mine. I own it. But if someone else has created the song and they're still alive, or a company owns the copyright, then you have to get special permission from that individual or that company to arrange their music if you want to sell it. And then every time you sell a copy, then you would give them a royalty because they own the copyright and they're still alive. So you'd have to give them a kickback. So that's something to think about. Okay. I know far too many people who they have created an arrangement, and then many times they'll say, oh, I'm going to just, I'll come out with this, and then I'll just ask for forgiveness after the fact that I arranged a copyrighted song. And sometimes those people get dinged because then the person who owns the copyright says, oh, okay, well, I just want you to give me 50 cents or $1 for every single arrangement you sell. Whereas then what happens is maybe they're not making any money. And maybe they even go in the hole, or they have to pay a fine, or they have to say, I've known companies that have said, well, I want you to give me 10 grand for everything that has happened already. And then from this point starting forward, then you can pay me, royalties off of everything you sell. That's why I like to compose my own music, because then I own the music and it's mine. But hopefully this lesson has helped you learn about how you can take a simple piece like the first Noel and arrange it and make it yours. Again, embellish the right hand, embellish the left hand. You can take a simple pattern and just start playing around with it. That is how you really have fun. Well, I want to end today's lesson. I'm going to read one of the motivational poems from my poetry book, Poetry That Motivates, right here. So we're just going to end with this. This is actually titled The Force of Habit. Nice little motivational message. This is a poetry book. I believe it has 57 poems I've written in this poetry book. I know this poetry book has 222 original motivational poems I've written. When I'm not composing music or coming out with albums, I like to write poetry. So, but let me read this. Again, this is from my book, Poetry That Motivates, and it's titled The Force of Habit. Let me read this to you to end our lesson. The force of habit. The force of habit is good and bad. Its strength is uncommonly strong. It can help us do whatever we choose. We're empowered to pursue right or wrong. This force of habit reclaims young and old. It does not discriminate at all. The habits that befall us are the ones we choose. We have no one to blame if we fall. A good habit can produce a better you, a more productive and effective soul. But our habits are a reflection of the thoughts we think. So ultimately, we should know we are the ones in control. Take control of your life by the habits you form. The daily decisions you make in turn will teach you and define you. They will perfect you and eventually refine you. This force of habit is a powerful friend, an ally to be championed and sought. And as your habits in turn refine you, the battles you face will at last be fought. So hopefully you enjoy that from my book, Poetry That Motivates. Hope you have a great day. Thanks for everyone who attended the lesson, all those who attended the live lesson. Thank you. I'll be uploading this within our course that you can access. Those of you who are signed up for our Essential Piano Teachers Weekly Online Group Piano Lessons. We have piano lessons every single Monday. We start at 11 and we go until 12. But let me know if you have any questions. I appreciate it. So it's fun to hear your feedback. And then I'd love to have you share with me videos of your piano students playing from my books. I have teachers who are using my music with their upcoming concerts or recitals, and I love watching the videos, and I love being tagged in the videos that they share on social media when students are playing my music, especially when the students are playing along with one of my accompaniment MP3 minus tracks. It's so fun to see their faces light up and to see the audience as they hear the drums and the guitars and keyboard synths and to see the students so excited. So if you have them, send me the videos. I mean, get permission, but let me know. I appreciate it. Thanks so much. Have a great day. See you. Bye.